I'm often asked what injuries are covered under South Carolina workers' compensation law. The best thing to remember is that if it happens at work, it's covered under South Carolina workers' compensation law. There are really very few exceptions to that rule, and most of those exceptions don't apply to most people. The main exceptions are if your injury is caused by alcohol use or drug use, then those injuries, regardless of what they are, would not be covered. But very rarely does that happen, even if someone is under the influence of alcohol or drugs. The drug or alcohol use has to be the cause of the accident. Anything really that's work-related, and sometimes even a slip and fall in the parking lot on your way into the work you haven't punched in yet, is covered by workers' compensation. The best thing to do if you're wondering whether or not you have a claim is to call us and let us make that decision for you, because you don't have any experience in it. Another issue that often arises for workers' compensation lawyers is, I was driving to work today and I had a wreck. Is my employer responsible? The best way to answer that question is maybe. Depends a lot on the circumstances. Along with that, in today's computer age, there are a large number of people who are now working at home, telecommuting. We have all these large banks in North Carolina, and a lot of people are working at home in South Carolina. A classic example, and we've had cases like this where a woman's working at home, she goes out to her car to get a box of stuff from work, picks it up, pain in her back, down her leg, she has a herniated disc in her back, she needs surgery, and she can't work. Is that work-related? The answer to that question is yes. Even though she wasn't at her employer's premise, she was a state away, maybe several states away, but she got hurt in the course of and scope of her employment, and because of that, that kind of case would be compensable. So just because you're working at home doesn't mean your employer is not responsible for your injuries. Mental health conditions also qualify for workers' compensation claims. There are some specialized rules, but again, that's why you need a lawyer, is to help you with those things. There's been a lot of changes in the last several years about mental cases. But for example, if I get hurt and I have surgery and I'm out of work for a long period of time and I begin to get depressed, the injured worker would have to say to his doctor, I don't feel very good. I think I'm depressed, I need some help. And if the doctor doesn't do anything about it, then we help with that as well. So being depressed, for example, because of an injury is something that's very common. The person may just need counseling, may need some medication, but whatever it is, the workers' compensation insurance carrier is responsible. Just being depressed because of work is a very different case. It may be compensable under South Carolina workers' compensation law. It may not. Some people don't think that their pre-existing back problem, for example, is covered under South Carolina workers' compensation law. It is. Most of us, after we get past after we get past our early 20s, have some kind of pre-existing condition, whether it's been back pain or high school knee injury or whatever it is. And I go to work and my back is bothering me, but my back bothers me whether I'm working or not working. But I've never missed a day of work with my back pain. And something happens at work and it gets worse, then the employer is responsible for what it did. And it may be that I miss work, I may have to have surgery, all kinds of different things may happen, but the employer is still responsible because the aggravation occurred at work.